Hey guys, welcome to another video. So I've had quite a few emails about this one, but they've kind of come today, admittedly, and I just thought I'd run you through this one and we'd see how this goes. So this is Hegarty video 159, which is simplifying algebraic expressions that include division. And I think what's caught a lot of people out is ones like, if you can see it, hopefully you can see this in the bottom left. This is one Razvan's messaged me. And we're getting caught out on when it involves negative powers and where to put them. So the question that's on the board at the moment is 35 x cubed y z squared all divided by 21 x squared y cubed z. So a couple of things to point out first. When we see a letter on its own, that's essentially an invisible 1. But anything to the power 1 is just itself, so we don't write it. It's a waste of time. And mathematicians were always trying to be a bit cheeky and write less. So we're going to focus on treat the coefficients as one part, and then treat each individual letter and base power as a different part. So first of all, the 35 divided by 21, we're just going to treat as a fraction. Okay. If I said simplify 35 over 21, you'd hopefully recognize that we can divide 7 into both of them. The highest common factor of 35 and 21 is 7. So 35 divided by 7 is 5. 21 divided by 7, is 5. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So we've simplified the numerical, the coefficient part of this expression. So now we're going to move on to the powers of x. So we've got x cubed divided by x squared. If I was to take the time to write this out in full, well, x cubed would be x times x, all divided by x times x. Now, if you stop and think about just basic numbers first, just start with 2. If I said 2 times 2 times 2, and then divide by 2 and divide by 2, we'd be back to a single 2. So it's with that in mind that we cancel out these. Essentially, x divided by x is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. And if you times anything by 1, a times 1 is just a. So therefore, this x cancels out with that x. This x cancels out with that x, leaving us with an x on top. So our answer here of x cubed divided by x squared is just going to be x. So if we start building up our answer here, we've got 5 on the top, 3 on the bottom. We've just got an x left on top. Now again, we don't write the x to the 1, we just leave it as x. So if we move on now to the y's, and this is where people were getting caught out, we've got y to the 1, or just y, divided by y cubed. So in this one, if I was to write that out in full again, I could have a y on top divided by y times y times y. So once again, this y on top will cancel out with 1 on the bottom, leaving us with, well, a y squared on the bottom and essentially a 1 on top. So that would look like just y squared on the bottom. And I'll come back to negatives in a moment. We'll just finish this question off and then show another way how the answer could look. So finally then, let's see what other colours have I got to highlight here. We've got z squared divided by a z, and again, z times z divided by z. These are going to cancel out, leaving us just a z on top, and we end up with this as our answer. And so that is one way of writing the answer. Now you could write it, essentially, with this on the top line. And if you wanted to do that, it would look like this. 5, and we're going to stick to mathematical convention and putting them in alphabetical order, so we'd still have our x, our y, but it wouldn't be y2 anymore. If we were to put the y on the top row, it would be y to the minus 2, and then the z. And that is essentially, these are the same thing. Okay, so I'd use my identity symbol there, which is your triple equals. They do mean the same thing. So let me get another sheet of paper out. So well prepared. And we'll go and we'll have a look on the screen at some of the other questions later in this one. Okay, so let's throw this on. So question 12 it's given me on this one is 30x cubed divided by 45xy squared. So hopefully straight away you can see that x is going to cancel out with one of these, and I'm not going to write it out in full now. I'm just going to scribble out the 3 and put a 2. Can't do anything with the y squared, so that's going to stay exactly where it is. Now we're just looking for a numerical factor. Now remember what I said about looking for the highest common factor. So this brings up to another common error that I've been seeing when I've been marking them, is people have just looked for 1. So they go, oh, 5. Yeah, I can divide 5 into both of these. So how many 5s are in 30? 6. How many 5s are in 45? 9. So we're going to have 6/9 x squared on top, y squared on the bottom, sorted. And the problem is we've not fully simplified the fraction. Whereas if we look and go, well, 15 goes into both of them. How many times? Twice. How many times? 3 times. There's your answer, admittedly messy, so we would rewrite it 2x squared over 3y squared. Go back to the screen now. What's our other question? We've got one where we're going to end up with a negative power. There we go. Lovely. So my example question 10 here is 28, what am I doing? 28x cubed y z to the 4 all over 35x y to the 4 z squared. So again, just break it down bit by bit. Focus on the fraction part first. 28 and 35. Fire through your times tables through practice. We're looking for 7s, aren't we? So 7 goes into 28. It goes into it 4 times. It goes into 35 5 times. So our coefficient part is 4 on top, 5 on the bottom. We're then looking at the x's. X cubed divided by x. When we divide by powers of the same base, it's just a subtraction. So 3 take away 1. We're left with x squared on top. We move on to the y's. This is a y to the 1, remember? And again, when we divide by powers of the same base, we subtract. 1 take away 4 is minus 3. I could put y to the minus 3 there, but as we've shown before, I'm just going to put y cubed on the bottom, and it means the same thing, okay? 1 over y cubed is equal to y to the minus 3. And finally then the z to the 4 divided by z to the 2, 4 take 2 is 2, so z squared. And there's our answer for that one. They're looking rather easy now, so I hope that helps for you. That should hopefully do us. Hope you've had a lovely VE day so far, and keep up the great work. Honestly, really, really impressed with what you guys are doing.